Hello, I hope that you, your family and your students are safe. In this video I wanted to announce two things. Number one, I have designed a new worksheet which is about charity, which you can download for free and use for your students. And secondly, this video that you're watching right now is going to be a video of me talking you through the whole process from idea to execution. I'm gonna film it all, edit some of the parts where I just sit and stare at my screen for hours on end, and I will share this video so you can watch how I design materials, what's my thinking process and what's like the technicality behind it. I've decided to select charity because this is something that I am personally passionate about and I've been trying to do more of. However, I asked my followers on Telegram whether they think I asked them to vote for the topics which are potentially interesting, and very few people voted for charity. I have decided to take charity regardless because this is something that I am interested in. But please, take it with a pinch of salt. Make sure that you choose the topics which are relevant to you and your students. For me, charity and helping others has been one of the coping mechanisms. It's helped me to keep going. If this is not relevant for you or your students, choose something else. Also, my followers on Telegram expressed some of their concerns, what might potentially be difficult here. I will talk about that later. So anyways, if charity is not something that you want to discuss with your students, I've decided to record this video just to show you around so that you can see how I design materials. Alright, so rule number one is select the topic which is relevant and interesting for you. Rule number two, whenever you are designing materials or whenever you are planning a lesson for that matter, the most important thing for us is to think about the main aim. There is nothing more important than the main aim. Your main aim is going to influence pretty much everything. I mean, the layout of the lesson, the stages and stuff like that. And also there are some sub-aims. You may have a few, you may have one, you may have none. So basically it all depends on the things that you will accomplish by the end of the lesson. So main aim answers the questions. My students will be able to do something. My students will be able. Here it is. So basically we need to think about what students will be able to do, and based on that I'm going to structure the lesson altogether. Okay, so my main aim that I have in mind is that my students by the end of the lesson will be able to express their opinions regarding charity in the context of discussing controversial statements. And my sub-aims are probably going to be revise or practice functional language of expressing opinion, agreeing and disagreeing. Apart from other lessons that I've shared with you, this one is not going to focus on vocabulary per se. Maybe there will be some language that may help students complete the task, but basically what I have in mind right now, I just want them to express their opinions. So this is actually what I'm thinking of right now, is a task-based learning lesson. So basically this is a task. When you express your opinion, you discuss something. Even if you have one-to-one classes, you and your students have different opinions, so there is a natural need for you to share your opinions. Expressing your opinions is a task. Task is something that we do in real life. And because of that, it's very hard to predict what language will be there, because there are many ways you can express your opinion. There are many opinions that we can express. So what I like about TBL is that it focuses on completing the task. So as long as students express their opinion and get their message across, the lesson is successful. So that's why, just because I'm thinking about choosing a task as the main aim of my lesson, completion of the task is the main aim of my lesson, it would influence my lesson structure overall. Okay, so there are many ways to stage your TBL lesson, but this is what I have in mind. We will begin with a pre-task stage. During the pre-task stage, I'm gonna help my students generate ideas and prepare language, planned language that they're gonna use. One of the concerns that a lot of my followers expressed was that, well, people don't do charity and maybe they won't have anything to say, which is a very valid concern, and I agree with that. However, if we plan our pre-task stage accordingly, it would probably preempt this problem, because we will give our students some ideas and we will equip them with all the necessary language that they may need. So here at this stage we will probably generate some ideas activate what they know about the topic, or maybe provide them with some information. We will see how it goes. And maybe if they need, we can teach them some language, but again, we will see how it takes us from now on. And then with the pre-task stage, we also need to tell them what we want them to achieve. So we need to establish task goals. Then there is a task itself. And in our very case, it's going to be expressing their opinions. And I'm thinking about the task that I have in mind is... what do you call it? You know, when you have some statements and you need to choose how far you agree with it, like completing a survey or something like that, and basically commenting on that. So this is the main task. This is what the whole lesson is going to build up to. And then there is feedback, post-task stage, which consists of feedback on content and language. So the thing with TBL, what makes it different from, let's say, PPP teaching approach, there is no presentation per se. It is very reactive. So I listen to my students completing the task and I give them feedback based on what they have said. So as a teacher, I don't really know what I might be teaching right now. It would depend on my students' performance. I may, however, think about potential language items that may pop up during the lessons. Let me brainstorm a couple. So here are the things that I have come up with. So just because I think that we are going to do some sort of an opinion gallery, I would need expressing opinion, agreeing and disagreeing. So this would work. Also, I was thinking about teaching them some functional language, like hedging, softening your opinion, conceding, maybe it's possible, linkers to give language to give examples, or linkers to give to add ideas. So these are just some areas. I may as well brainstorm some examples so I know what I might be teaching. But again, it won't come until I observe my students at this stage during the lesson. So I must be prepared to teach them something, but I will see how they perform and I will focus on that. So let me come up with a couple of examples here. Okay, I've added a couple of examples. I've also added partially agreeing or partially disagreeing because it's probably gonna pop up. Again, one more thing that you need to bear in mind about TBL is that I don't know what I'm gonna be teaching until I see my students do the task, and then analyzing what they need, I might teach them something else. If you think about this task again, I was thinking about the rationale why I decided to do this. Why did I want my students to express their opinions about controversial statements? Because it gives a natural reason for them to communicate. This is something that we do in real life. We agree, we disagree, and stuff like that. Maybe I will teach them something else, but I was thinking that brainstorming some potential language areas might be very helpful. So I just prepare myself for things that I'm going to be teaching. Of course, you need to be prepared to teach everything. The reason why I'm not focusing on any language in particular, because I believe that in this very case, I just want my students to talk about a topic which is important, which is controversial, and which is complex. I don't want them to use a certain grammar or a certain lexis. The main aim of this lesson is just to give them practice of expressing their opinions. It's fluency, not accuracy. It's completing the task, not using a certain language item in speech. That's why it's going to be quite a chill lesson plan, so to say. Okay, so moving on, I have an idea of a task, and that's why I'm going to start with that. And then, judging by what I come up with when it comes to the task, I'm going to think about the pre-task and post-task activity. So I'm kind of skipping ahead of myself a little bit. As you can see, I'm using just Pages, Word, Google document would do, just because it's easier to check that I have no typos. Because if you use Photoshop or Canva, sometimes spell check doesn't work there, and you end up making silly mistakes, or I end up making silly mistakes, and it's not really cool when you share it with your students or when you share it with your followers who are teachers. So yeah, that's why I try to do that on Google Doc, Word or Pages first, just to make sure that there are no silly spelling mistakes, and then I move on to something else. So basically, for my task, I want to have a list of controversial statements. I brainstormed some, so I'm going to write them down here. Okay, so I've been thinking about that for quite some time. So I've written a couple of statements. I'm also thinking about a few which I don't know how to formulate. So far I have, we should only donate to people, not animals or buildings. I deliberately try to make them controversial, so there is something for your students to react to. Donating time is more effective than donating money. Here's, by the way, one of my followers taught me that there is this thing which is called pro bono. This is when you work for free, but this is probably not what, it's not something that we are going to teach our students, but it's a nice phrase to learn. Charity related vocab. I can kind of write it down and then maybe, use it as my potential linguistic problem or area to focus on. People shouldn't donate money to charities at all. It's our governments who should do that. Rich people should be forced to donate money to charities. Another thing that I'm thinking of, there are a lot of scammers. So I was thinking about maybe Googling some charity-related controversies to make sure that I have something there. Let's check. Okay, charity controversies. And let's see what Google suggests. So now Googling comes into play. So I can see there are some charity fraud, charity scandals. Okay, cool. So I'm now going to try and do a little bit of Googling and reading and see if I can find some controversies that I can use for my lesson. Okay, I had another idea just to find some good language, how to know that the charity is not a fraud. Okay, let's see. Okie doke. 5 telltale signs of a charity scam. Okay, cool. So yeah, they use charity scams and charity frauds. Okay, cool. To tell that the charity is legitimate. So I'm gonna read it and see if there are any cool phrases that I can steal from here too. Okay, I can see there are some cool phrases. Many such rules and rules for fundraising for veterans and disaster relief. We open our hearts and wallets to those who served and those rebuilding their lives after hurricanes. So they are especially active during the holidays. Okay, cool. Okay, so I've decided to transform it a little bit into a controversial statement. Here's what I have. There's no way you can tell if this is a real fundraising campaign or a scam. There are a lot of fraudsters, so I choose not to help anyone at all. But this one feels a little bit more personal than others, so we can add a couple of statements like, I believe that donating time is more effective than donating money and stuff like that. And while I was reading this article about scammers, I also came across a couple of words like open our hearts, generosity supports many amazing organizations, support noble causes and stuff like that. Okay, so a couple of more statements coming. Okay, I did a little bit more of reading just to make sure that I add this here. So if this is something that you would discuss with your students and this is something that you don't know, I just read a couple of articles and added a couple of information. How do you know that the charity is real? Again, this is probably not what you are gonna teach your students, but it's good to have this just in case and be able to provide your students with that information in case they need it. Okay, so I haven't moved much in terms of my opinions. Okay, I'm gonna brainstorm things some more and research that too. I was thinking about money laundering, but maybe it could be a little bit too complicated for some of the students, so maybe it's too much. Okay, let me think. I was also thinking about how sometimes people or companies donate money to, as they say, cover up their messes. So I'm going to think about ways I can do that. And then I was also thinking how charitable organization can... Excuse me, what? I don't know this word. Let's check what it means. Okay. Unsettle. Okay, cool. So maybe it's too much. But I will see what it does. Maybe I will read this article. Messaging does the opposite. So maybe it's about the message the charity organization sent. I will check this article too. That's an interesting article, but I think it's too complicated for... to kind of, it's hard to think about the statements. It says about how we donate money, how we think the charity should be perfect and stuff like that. Okay, so let me read about how corporations cover up messes with charity. Ooh, I love this. Reputation washing. Cool. So yeah, good. I think I can start with this title right away and use it for my worksheet, but I'm going to read it just in case. Okay, cool. So there is a cool idea here. So anything, I will transform it into the statement. Here it is. So there was Reagan administration that convinced pretty much everyone that anything that government can do with taxpayer dollars, private enterprise can do better, faster, and more efficiently. I think this is a great one, and I'm going to use that as my statement. By the way, getting political was one of the things that a lot of people were worried about, and look at us, we are getting political, yes. At the same time, how can you expect us not to talk about politics when we're talking about charity? And then I think if we are mentioning taxpayer dollars, it might be a good idea to mention them somewhere here as well. Give me a quick check. People shouldn't donate money with taxpayer money. Here we go. Now it's more coherent and cohesive. Okay, moving on. I love this article so far, so I'm going to read it and see if there is anything else I can steal from that. By the way, if you are interested, this is a great article. There are so many good language chunks. Again, not probably what I'm going to do with my students, but I just enjoy reading it. Like this one, egregious form of corporate philanthropy. Ostensibly, they're ostensibly trying to solve, throwing good money after bad. Good, I love this. And then they have an example about Coca-Cola. Probably I'm going to use that as a pre-task just to give them a little bit of something to talk about. So I'm going to copy that while I am still here and I remember. Okay, I'm going to create... Where I'm going to put that? This is a mess right now. I understand that this is messy. Oh, wow, why it's so big? Let me make it a little bit smaller. Okay, cool. This is just an idea to think about Coca-Cola. Okay, cool. Okay, so the things which I have come up with are as follows. Companies often use charity for improving their reputation. They get good press coverage and it makes their clients happy. Giving money to charities like putting a band-aid... You see, that's why you need to type it on Word first. A band-aid on top of a broken bone. It's not really solving any problems. Okie doke, so I think that's enough. 8 statements seems like a reasonable number of statements to disagree with. And then I was thinking about when I'm going to be designing the worksheet, I'm just going to put them all here and then maybe ask students to give a grade of some sort. I like this name, Opinion Gallery. Maybe I'm going to create some sort of a gallery. I don't know, we will see. Okay, but right now, so far, an example of charity. Yeah, here we go. I will put it here. Okay, so far I have a couple of things that I'm thinking of. Just give me a quick sec. Alright, so I've added this idea here. I rephrased it to make it more laconic. So what I was thinking of, I now have a task. I have some ideas that may potentially help teacher get prepared, or maybe I can use them as a pre-task activity at some sort or another. And I have the statements that students need to agree or disagree. I will also probably do a little bit of research into charity-related vocabulary. I'm gonna use... What dictionary am I going to use? I'm going to use Free Collocation Dictionary just to make sure what I have there. Maybe there are some collocations which I'm missing, but this is a great article. I loved it. So it was very interesting. Okay, free collocation. Let's see if there's anything that charity collocates with. Is there something I miss? Okay, support, go to. Okay, no, not really. Not really. Well, there is a phrase, an act of charity. I can copy that and maybe use that. Okay, cool. I'm also gonna Google a couple of articles which are why charity is important, because I think I might get some cool phrases from there. So I'm gonna read a couple. I don't read many, I just read a couple. So I will check this out. Okay, while I'm doing that, I'm just making sure that I have like cool language chunks which I can provide my students with. Again, probably I'm not going to teach my students that, but just to be sure that I can use some language, it can help me. I have noticed to those affected is a very common one, and then we can also check that on some websites like Ludwig, or just to make sure that this is those affected. This is something that they use, and we can check the context. Thinking of those affected, thousands of those affected. Our thoughts are with all. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. This is a very common phrase. I like this. So I'm reading an article why it's cool to give to charity, and maybe I'm also going to put it here in this little thing here. Why should we give? Why should we donate to charities? Okay, cool. So I'm going to read and maybe do a little bit of research into that question, just to be on the safe side here. All right, so far I have researched some charity-related vocabulary. I've written a couple of phrases here. I have researched 3 questions which might potentially be helpful during the class. So now I need to think about how I can prepare my students for completing the task altogether. I was thinking about adding another information about where charities get their money from. So what I was thinking of as my main task, I would probably first of all ask my students to comment on the statements, express their opinion, and then we may take another task here and maybe, take polar views. So probably they will either agree or disagree, so no fence sitting. And here we can kind of encourage them to support their position. Again, this is a hypothetical thing. Maybe giving examples may help here, just to make it more persuasive. So these are my main tasks. Now I'm thinking about the pre-task activity. So one of the concerns expressed that students wouldn't have any experience and they wouldn't know what to say, which is very legit and very real. I will try to introduce a couple of personalized questions first as a pre-task, and then I will somehow transform this information, and I'm thinking about keeping it as a text of some way or another, so students read it and get some input and get something to talk about, and then they can move on and talk about these statements. So let me brainstorm a couple of personalized questions. Okie doke. So I have written 5 questions. All of them are personalized to some extent. So they all refer to students' personal experience. So I think they have donated some money to one person or another, so they will have something to talk about. Maybe there's someone they know who volunteers or donates money. Is there any charity that is popular in your country? Even though most of my followers now in Telegram said that, well, not many charities are popular, I still think there would be a couple that kind of ring a bell. So yeah, I think they would be answered to answer that question. If not, that's fine. Are there any popular charity organizations you know about? Do you trust them? Are there any charity campaigns you don't trust, and why? I think it's also very personalized question. Maybe here you can elicit and kind of hint at some what do you call it, like you can hint at some losing money, some scammers, fraudsters and stuff like that. So all of these are personalized, and again we just ask these questions to activate what students already know about charity. So yeah, that's it. Now, I was thinking about this text. I see it as some sort of an input for students, so they get some ideas. And I need to think about how I need to edit this text right here. So it should be a short text, a couple of sentences long, and I need to think about some questions which would accompany this task. So this is pre-task 1, to personalize what they know. And this is pre-task number 2. So it's like reading-based discussion questions. Let me edit a couple of texts here and then write the questions down. Alrighty, so my plan. I've edited a couple of texts here. So my plan for pre-task 2, it's again to generate ideas. If pre-task 1 is about personal experience, this one is about helping them generate some ideas. So what I want us to do here, I probably will ask them the same questions, the ones which I have written here, and maybe I will give them some words from the text so they guess the answer. The reason why I'm going to write these words here, for example, I'm going to write words like pressure, what else, buy cash, or gift card, And then one more, no information. So, or maybe not even no information, but no financial reports. Did I use this phrase here? Yeah, no financial reports. Financial reports. So I will have the question and some of the words. So the idea here is that students need to try and answer that question. And by putting the words here, I make sure that I give them something to talk about. So I prompt them. Maybe I put some words that they wouldn't have come up with all by themselves. So I need to do the same for all the other words. Okie doke, so I've selected a couple of words from these texts. So my idea is that students try to answer these questions, and these are going to help them and kind of give them some ideas to talk about, and maybe, you know, let them step out of their comfort zone or talk about something if they have no ideas what to talk about. Then, once they answer the question, they read the text and compare their answers with these texts and maybe note these words. Okay, now having done that, they would have some ideas, and now they would have an opinion to share. Now we are moving on to the task itself. An extension to this task, this is optional, but could be that students write their own controversial statements. So my thinking process here is that students do the task. You need to explain the task to them, probably here before they do that. Then they complete the task, they express their opinion. And if necessary, you teach them something, for example, language of agreeing, disagreeing, and stuff like that. So it's pretty much based on emergent language. You monitor your students, how they work, and then give them some feedback. After that, you can do task 2, which is like taking polar views. You forbid fence setting, and you ask them to support their opinion. And you kind of cleave your students into 2 groups. Or maybe you can play devil's advocate here. If you have one-to-one students, you may choose whether you agree or disagree, and you need to have this sort of a debate. So like taking polar views. And as an extension, students write their own controversial statements. That's it. I am very happy with my lesson plan. So now it's all ready. I need to put it, I need to assemble it all together. To assemble my worksheet, I'm going to use Canva. And then if you Google worksheet here, I have Canva Pro. So I use that. I select the one that I like. Sometimes I use the templates. If I am not lazy, I can just start from scratch. But today I am feeling a little bit lazy, to be honest. So I'm going to select the one which I like. I like something minimalistic, without much stuff there. I like this one, but it's a little bit childish. Okay, so basically I just go through and find the one that I like. I kind of like this one, so I'm going to get rid of all the text and I'm going to edit it all. So yeah, basically I just select a worksheet on Canva and I edit it. Again, I have Canva Pro, so I can do little things like that. And then look for elements. So yeah, I'm going to try. Oh, I'm not doing the right thing. I'm going to try and find something and then I'm going to put it all here. So yeah, I will keep you. I will stop the video now and I will get back once I'm ready. I found cool things which you can use for charity. I don't know. I love the elements. So I'm going to just add a couple. They look cool. Yeah, I love them. I dig the style and it looks really nice. So I'm going to add them and I'm going to use them to illustrate my worksheet. The beauty of Canva is that if you have Canva Pro, you have a lot of cool things that you can get here. So yeah, basically these are my pictures that I'm going to use. Okay, I'll keep you updated once I'm ready. I don't have any secret about working on Canva. I just experiment and I just see how it takes me. Yeah, that's my thinking process behind it. All right, so now I'm just copying the text from my doc into here, and I feel it's not really doing much for me. I want to have more space between the questions. So this is my pre-task 1. Okay, so here we have it. Now we are going to do pre-task 2. I don't need this for now. But yeah, okay, I like the way it looks. Okay, now, I just play around. Again, there is no right or wrong way of doing that. I just see how it works, and that's it. Okay, so the light is different because it's getting darker, and this is what I have come up with so far. So these are the 4 texts. I don't like these dividers, and I think that green doesn't really do much for me. I can't, maybe it's because I'm blind, but it's not very contrastive, so I was thinking about highlighting the task with a brighter color. As you can see, I tried to keep the font quite big. I used 2 different fonts, one with, fancy one and one very simple, just because it makes reading easier. So now I'm thinking about putting, as you can see, I changed the template that I downloaded. So yeah, the rule of thumb for me, I tried to keep the font, a reasonable size. And I don't think I like the green. I think I need to change it to something. Maybe this one is even better. Or maybe I can just do it like pink. No, red is too much. And now you can see me experimenting with everything. I like the green. I like the idea of green, but maybe I need to use this teal instead. Yeah, I like this one. So I'm gonna use this one. Yeah, so I'm gonna now change everything manually from this color to this color. And then, yeah, these ones are gonna be the teal color too. So yeah, here's what it's gonna look like. I'm also probably gonna change the, what do you call them? The dividers, because again, they don't do much. Yeah, dividers are a little bit too wacky. I'm gonna put this down so I can change the divider into something a little bit more laconic. And then I need to put the text in this one. So as you can see, the first text is quite big, others are, okay, relatively small. So maybe I will put them here and add a little image or something, maybe like somewhere here. But we will see how it goes. So dividers, again, I go to elements, search for dividers. So I need something minimalistic. Yeah, maybe dividers, doodle. I don't like anything, to be honest. Okay, dividers, minimalistic. So now it's the process of trial and error. Okay, I'll get back to you once I figure something out. Yeah, I think I like the look of this divider. It looks quite cool. So I'm gonna keep that. And yeah, I need to change the color here too. Okay, let's do this. Changing colors, readjusting stuff, but it's easy because I have all the text ready, so I just need to make sure that it looks okay. Again, I am by no means am I a designer, so I'm just going with what I like. My gut feeling. So that's my thinking process behind it, just experimenting and seeing if I like it or not. So yeah, right now it looks like that. Now putting the text in frames and maybe figuring out where to put the images that I found. All right, this is what my first page looks like. I am very happy with it. I think it looks amazing. So now I need to design the second page and we are good to go. Okay, now I've put the text here and now I'm trying to highlight it. I found this beautiful square gradient right here. So basically what I did, I just changed the colors. So here's what it looks like. I changed the colors and now I'm working around with transparency. So I just put it under the text and maybe editing it a little bit so it's a little bit bigger. Just give me a quick sec so it looks nicer. I do that so the text is more readable and students could identify what the statement each scale for opinion refers to. So I'm gonna do a little bit of that just to make it look a little bit nicer. I will change the colors, trying to use the colors that we have used so far. So it could be a little bit of pink, a little bit of that. Yeah, okay, I like the way it looks. So I need to make sure that it's all aligned and it looks nicely. So yeah, that's my plan. This is what I'm gonna do right now. Here it looks a little bit too red, so I'm gonna turn the transparency down a tad and I'm gonna change the colors here. So yeah, that's the plan. So it looks a little bit different. Okay, so I'm gonna keep on doing that. I'll get to you once it's ready. Alrighty, here's what it looks like. I'm very happy with that. So I'm gonna write the extra text here and I think we're good to go. Look at that. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna be writing some extra tasks. And yeah, that's it. I will get to you once it's ready. Ta-da! It's all ready. This is what it looks like. Yay! Okay, so I am very happy with this worksheet. I don't know why. I like the color scheme, the pictures and everything. So once I finalize the teacher's notes, which shouldn't take me long, I'm gonna share the worksheet, the teacher's note and the video. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you learned a thing or two. If you have, please let me know in the comments what is it that you learned. I would be happy to hear from you. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you later.